To go there to bring peace. So he went to the Mohawk country with his stone canoe. And when he got to the Mohawk country, they're cannibals, you see, at that time. If you look at them around, that's the only reason they'll kill you. That's how mean they were in those days. It was the worst you can imagine. And so when the peacemaker came there to the village of the Mohawks, he made a little house outside of the woods next to the clearing of the village. And then in the early morning, he made a smoke go up, white smoke. And when that white smoke goes up, that's the signal for the war leaders to send the young men to go invite them in. And so they did. And so that young men went over there and they seen the peacemaker. And they brought him in. And the war chief says, "Who are you and what do you want?" He didn't give him no tear, nothing. Didn't say hello and how are you. He just said, "What do you want here and who are you?" That's what he answered. And the peacemaker guy says, "I am the peacemaker. I've come from the Creator's land to bring peace." And they laughed at him right in his face. "Don't fool me, sent by the peacemaker. Who do you think we are?" Mohawk said that. And here's what the peacemaker said. At Cohoes Falls, there's a falls there. It's there today. It's 100 and something foot down, solid rock. And at the very edge of that falls was a tree 150 foot tall, right at the edge. And that peacemaker told the bloody Mohawk people, he said, "I know you don't believe me, and I don't blame you for not believing me until I prove myself. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to climb up that tree, right to the top. And you Mohawks cut that tree down so it falls over the gorge. That's 300 foot drop, solid rock. And then if it's not true that I'm sent by the Creator, you don't have to worry. I'll be gone forever." And the Mohawks, when the peacemaker said that, Mohawks all said, "Ha, hurry up, get up there." And they were so overjoyed because they were sadist. You know, like in Italy, in Rome, remember when they used to put old people and women and children in the Colosseum and open the cages for the lion to fight them? And then everybody cheered, all the kings and queens cheered when they violently killed the people, the lion. Well, that's what the Mohawks did when that man fell over. They were so happy because they relished and they enjoyed when you hurt people. That's witchcraft. That's evil. So he went up there, they cut it down the river he went. And Mohawk said, "We don't have to worry about that guy no more." So they all went to sleep. Next morning, smoke come up. And they sent the young guys to go see him. It was the peacemaker. Big eyes. Not one hair is broken. Not one bruise on his body. He survived that fall. And then when he appeared there, the Mohawk chief, head Mohawk war chief, he said to him, "We will be like a rabbits now. Our ears is going to go up like a rabbit. And we are going to listen to every word or message you have about peace. We will accept because you proved to us the power you have when we tried to kill you over that falls. You showed us your power. That's the power of the Creator. And so now we were ready to follow you." And so he said, "I'm going to plant this tree for all the Iroquois people. And on this, if you take one of this off, one of these bunches off, there's 5 needles on there. The Mohawk, Oneidas, Onondagas, Cayuga, and Seneca. That's what it represents, that. And the top part is the Creator is holding it, our confederacy together. That's, if you look at this, it's all like that. And then he said, when he finished, he said, "I'm going to uproot this tree. And when I uproot the tree, there will be a big cavity in the ground. And under there is a river, goes under the Mother Earth. I'm calling all the Mohawk men to bring your weapons of war. Bring them here. And one after another, you pledge that you will never kill again. And that you will bury those weapons of war under the tree." Then he said, "Okay, Oneidas, now you'll come." And you say you'll give it up. And you make a repentance of your killing ways. and you will throw all your weapons in that hole. Onondagas, you're next. And they all came and they did that. Cayugas, you're next. And all the Cayuga men come. And Seneca come too. And they all pledged, we will not fight ever again each other, ever. We're going to follow the way of the peacemaker. And so then when they throw everything in there, and that's what I'm asking you all to do here, that when you go home today, whatever feelings you had with your family or arguments you had with your relatives, throw it in there under the ground. Leave it here and put the dirt for the street to grow of peace. And then when you leave all your grievances there and everything that injures you emotionally, put it there. Don't take it home. And this time when you see your parents or your children that you were mean to or not have a good relation, you ask for forgiveness. And you ask to be a family again. You ask that there be happiness in that family. And you help them. And they'll hug you back if you do it sincerely. But if you leave it here, it can be a good medicine for you, just as it was 2,000 years ago when that peacemaker came. And then he said, the leaders of this confederacy of Great Tree of Peace will be a matrilineal. Women will be the leaders. That's what we call clan mother. They will be the women who will choose which men will be religious leaders, spiritual leaders, and which men will be political leaders. And if those men do not toe the line, the women will initiate their removal. And so right to this day for 2,000 years, all the Iroquois is a matrilineal. And they are the ones that still call the shots in our nation. So that's what this tree represents. And there's several of them here that's been planted over the years. Several. Look at how big they're growing. And so now, this tree has been planted in honor of the peacemaker. And the final thing I'll say about it is that my great-great-great-grandfather was one of the leaders that was sent to the Albany meeting in 1754. My direct grandfather, great-grandfather. And they're the one that recited the great laws to Benjamin Franklin and Thomas Jefferson, and then they make the United States. Instead of putting kings and queens and princesses here, they put elected leaders, like the Iroquois does. And that's where the Constitution of the United States comes from. It's this tree, 2,000 years ago. And there still needs to be, they need to learn some more. They didn't take all of it. Especially Benjamin and Thomas Jefferson, when they heard that the women are the ones going to choose the leader, they said, no way. So in 1924, when my mother was a little girl, they passed in Congress in 1924 to allow women to vote. So they're catching up. So we have to push that some more. So with that, I'm going to invite you to throw the dirt on there. But before you throw the dirt on there, whatever grievances you carry, illness that you carry, emotional in your family, to put it in there, bury it. Don't take it home with you. And start new at your house with your family. And that's where we start, at home. So I invite you now to take the shovels and cover that root.
Thank you.
And bury all the negative.
Take a here. Take a smaller one.
A small one?
I can make sure that we this way. Ready?
So right over here. Okay, and you can look this way.
Oh, we are looking.
Yeah. Carl, you're a little.
Let's get some dirt. And then her. Just hold it.
Okay, look this way, please. Okay, look this way, and 1, 2, 3. This way, Carl. 1, 2, 3. Everybody, 1, 2, 3. This way. Keep looking this way. 1, 2, 3. Smile. That's good. Shovels, tree. Got it. Okay.
All right, over here real quick.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
Try?
Try this. again.
Anybody else want to try?
Miss Irma Lagar and Miss Rhonda Ross, our honorees today. Come on, you can do better than that. I need to hear something. That's more like it. I'm Carl Nelson, and this is Kamala Caesar. We've been doing this for the last 15 years from Lotus Music and Dance, and we'd like to welcome you all. So, we're ready. No, we're gonna do it. Oh, and we also have here the North Manhattan Parks Administrator, Miss Jennifer Hopper. Please say something, Jennifer.
Welcome and thank you everyone for being here out in the rain in our beautiful Inwood Hill Park.
Now we will do an honor dance for our honorees. The three honorees, Miss Irma Lagar, Miss Yvonne Dennis, and Miss Rhonda Ross.
Okay, we're going to have a couple of intertribals coming up. Let's give our honorees another nice hand, really. Thank you so much. And we have a lot of people here that came many, many miles. Later on we're going to see some people that came all the way from Toronto, Ontario to be here today with us. They have some special dances they want to do, and I'm looking forward to that because it's quite exciting. We have Pow Wow to come into our circle and dance. So when I say two intertribals, we're going to have two songs, and we're going to invite our dancers to come in and join in these two intertribals. So we'll start with Silver Cloud Singers, give us a good one, and then we'll go to Paint a Second Sun for our second song. Okay, two intertribals. The people from the Great Plains area of our country, down through North Dakota, South Dakota, Oklahoma, all down to that central part of the country, that's where the Pow Wow originated. And earlier you saw some of the Iroquois dances, which of course, very, very different kind of dancing. You probably noticed, if you were here for their earlier performance, that the kind of drum they use is very different. It's called a water drum. And it's a very, very small drum, which actually has water in it, which makes a sound. And there's one person who plays the drum, not a whole group of people. This is kind of unique to the Western people. The kinds of drums you see here with the Silver Cloud and the Hey the Second Sun Singers, these are Western style. And usually you have maybe 4, 5, 6, 7 or 8 people drumming at the same time, which is kind of unusual. I had a very good friend of mine who was a musician, and he said it's very unusual to see more than one person playing the drum at the same time and singing. So this is a very kind of unique aspect of the style of singing that comes from the Great Plains people, or the Western people. But the dances and songs also are quite different from the Iroquois people here in New York State. And of course, if you go out to the Southwest, to the Pueblo people, very different kind of singing and drumming once again. But there are some dances and songs that are very, very interesting that come from the Great Plains people. And I'm going to call out our grass dancer, if he is still here with us. I'm going to ask the Silver Cloud Singers to give us a song for a grass dancer, but I want to explain a little bit about this dance because this is so typical and indicative of the Plains people. One of the stories says that this particular dance originated many years ago when the people out in the Great Plains depended on the buffaloes for many, many things. Number one, of course, the buffalo was their source of food. But they also used the buffalo hides or skins to make their teepees. They used the buffalo skins to make their clothes. They used the buffalo bones to make spoons and knives, needles to sew with. And of course, in the wintertime, they would use the buffalo chips to keep their lodges warm. So the buffalo is a very, very important animal to the people of the Great Plains. But 300 or 400 years ago, the buffaloes didn't stay in one place. They wandered all over the Great Plains. And because the people depended on the buffaloes for so many things, wherever the buffaloes would go, that's where the people would go. But before the people moved from one campsite to a new campsite. There were a group of dancers that they would send out before the rest of the people. And these dancers would go into the new camping area and they would dance. And what they were doing as they were dancing, they were taking their feet and they were crushing down the tall grass that grows out on the Great Plains. Now, I don't know how many of you have been out to North and South Dakota or that area, but there is a very interesting museum in Oklahoma called the Tall Grass Museum. And in that museum, they have all of the different kinds of grasses that grow out on the Great Plains. And there's one type of grass, which I was very surprised to find out myself, one type of grass that actually grows 8 feet above the ground, grass. And not only that, the roots of the grass go down 8 feet under the ground. So this particular kind of grass is 16 feet from the roots under the ground to the top, which is above the ground. Now, of course, not all the grass is that tall, but the grass out there is quite high. So what these dancers were doing is they were dancing, they were taking their feet and they were crushing down the tall grass. So when the rest of the people arrived, they'd have a nice, smooth, flat area to put up their camp. And they might send out as many as 100 or 150 dancers. They might be out there for a couple of days dancing. And in that amount of time, they'd be able to crush down a nice, large area for the camp. So that's what this particular, one of the stories, as I said before, about this particular style of dancing. And if our grass dancer is here, and they have different categories that these dancers will compete in. This particular category I'm going to tell you about right now, it's called the Old Style or Traditional Warriors Dance. It's one of the more popular categories where they have many of the dancers compete. But they say the origin of the dance goes back many years ago when the warriors returned to the village. They would have all the people gathered very much the same as we gathered here this afternoon. Oh, our grass dancer was here. Good. All right, I will tell you more about the old style of traditional dance after our grass dancer. But here we have now the grass dance, Super Cloud.
Is
take a minute to welcome our Manhattan Borough President, Mrs. Gale Brewer.
Thank you, Carl Nelson. It is an honor to be here in Inwood with the 50th annual Pow Wow. It's a very special, unique event. Rain does not keep anyone away. We are a very strong, committed, loving community, very respectful of the culture that is being demonstrated here today. And I want to thank Carl Nelson and his team. There are many people who put this together to make it so special and to bring individuals from different cultures here into our beautiful Manhattan. And I just want to thank everyone for turning out and say that I am the Borough President of Manhattan and I'm working really hard to try to do the right thing. But to be here today in this park, in this borough, with all of you, with individuals who have beautiful, phenomenal, traditional culture is something very special. And I'm glad you all turned out. And we'll keep being supportive of the arts in its greatest form and make elected officials put money, your money, government money, into the arts. Thank you very, very much. And thank you, Carl Nelson.
Thank you, Gale Brewer.
Let's give them a nice hand all the way from Toronto, Canada, here to entertain you today with their hoop dance. All right, take it away, Silver Clouds. All right, let's give a nice hand. Now, just a reminder, if you would like to learn how to do this hoop dance, they will be teaching a class at 4 o'clock. And,
Will you eat this?
4 o'clock. At the World Tent.
Camera's right there. Yo, move. Oh, crap. Hold on.
Come on, let's go. Let's walk.
You're not going in there.
Here.
Come on. You're not going in there.
Excuse me. No, you gotta get him though.
Kid! Kid! Get out of here! Get over here!
can. Beautiful. That's another interpretation of a hoop dance. Very nice, honey. Very good.
Set up over there.
Oh, no. Hello, my name is Jason. I'm originally from the Cherokee people. Our traditional territory is Red Clay, Tennessee, but I was born and raised here in New York City in the Bronx. What I'm here today to do with you is to play as a cultural ambassador, to share some teachings from my nations and many others, to show parallels with the environment. There's many names that we're called today. Some call us here in the States Indians, Native American, indigenous, but we have individual names that we call ourselves, and I am from the Chalagi people. I am from Chalagi people, Cherokee people also known as, and I'm a all-around artist and a cultural ambassador, so thank you.
Hello everybody, my name is Heather Beth Henson, and I too am an artist. I live here in New York City, and I'm an environmental theater artist. And environmental theater artists that use puppets, and I'm actually a second generation puppeteer, which is kind of fun. And speaking of the generations, my ancestry, my family immigrated to this continent about 5 generations ago. My ancestry is European mix. We got some Scandinavian, some Irish, and some German in there. And we immigrated to this continent and moved to Turtle Island, which is now known as the United States. And but I grew up absolutely loving the environment here, loving the animals, the plants, and absolutely loving learning and knowing the people who are from this nation, from Turtle Island. And yeah, people of this island, people of Turtle Island, yes. And one of those nations that I'm particularly akin to actually is the crane nation. And so I've loved cranes my whole adulthood. I've really been intrigued with cranes. And so I love cranes. They're really charismatic and fabulous. So I love So,
where you going? Why you love cranes?
I love cranes because they're... Has anyone seen a crane here? Anyone know cranes? Cranes?
Wow.
Don't know cranes. This is good. What kind of cranes do you know? You know what kind of cranes we have?
Can anyone tell us what a crane looks like? Let's have the young people. What does a crane look like?
Well, I've seen them in origami. Sometimes
Oh yes. What is their features? How does their neck look?
their neck is very long.
Very long and tall, right? Like Heather.
And they kind of look like large ducks.
Well, they're large. They're very large. In fact, the whooping crane is the largest bird in North America. The largest bird. And they're very charismatic. A lot of cultures, especially indigenous cultures that have grown up with these birds through the thousands of years, they have been honored because they dance beautifully, and they sing beautifully. Their calls are they have a very long trachea, so their calls can go out for miles. And they also raise their kids. Unlike other many birds you see, like tree birds, like sparrow birds, these ones, they raise their kids for an entire year. So they'll have one kid at a time and raise that kid for an entire year before that bird then goes off on its own. So they're considered incredibly good parents, taking care of their little babies, watching them. So this is why I have enjoyed cranes, for these charismatic reasons. So we're thinking about crane stations.
So here we have the many cranes that are found throughout the world. You have about 15 species throughout the world. There are 2 cranes in North America. Does anyone know the 2 cranes that are originally from this territory, North America, also known as Turtle Island? Excuse me. Anyone?
Yes?
Hopefully we're going to make some crane experts by the end of this presentation.
Alright, do you know what cranes are here?
I'm guessing maybe the one with the red head that's mostly white and the black wings.
This one? This one?
Yeah, that one.
The top one.
Yeah.
That one?
Top one. Very
You know
good.
the name of that?
Ding, ding, ding. That's here in North America. Wait, one in the front, she knows. The what?
The whooping crane.
The whooping crane, yeah. So the one
There you go.
The largest crane in North America is the whooping crane. So he has exactly white crane, red crown. So that is the most, that is the rarest of the cranes. Of the 15 species of cranes, it's the rarest. And then we have actually also the most abundant crane, which is the sandhill crane. And it is a ton of the sandhill falls, like a million, like more. So one of the reasons we are cranes, just a quick little history on the whooping crane. We used to have tens of thousands of whooping cranes, and they nested all in the whole northern half of Turtle Island. They nested in this whole range, and they winter all down here, all in the coastal areas, like from Florida all the way into Mexico. But what happens is they live in the prairie, in the Great Plains, in the grasses. So they need to nest in grasses, and we've taken a lot of our grasslands and then turned them into farms. So we lost a lot of their nesting grounds until we only have their numbers went down. Actually, around the turn of the 1870s, their numbers went from about, we don't really know, tens of thousands, into the less than 20 of them.
So the red represents the territory that they originally covered. Now, they have this little slither of territory that they are in now. So there's not many.
There's 300 of them now, and they're flying strong from Wood Buffalo, Canada, down to Port Aransas, Texas. They're strong. There's 300 of them. Good. The ones don't.
So with that being said, the crane covers many directions and is a clan-oriented being. Just like many of our First Nations Native Americans here in North America. We are clan-oriented. We take care of our families. We hunt. And that is in balance with the 4 directions, and also known as the medicine wheel. If you look here, you can see the 4 colors represented and many different things on our regalias. In the old days, First Nations people, Native Americans, would set up stones. Never had the colors before. They would set up stones in the formation of the 4 directions in honor of the balance of the many things within the universe. The East, representing the newborn, that first stage of life.